ਘਰ ਇੱਕ ਐਸੀ ਥਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਹਰ ਕੋਈ ਆਪਣੀ ਨਿੱਜੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਸੁਨਹਿਰੀ ਪਲ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰਿਆ ਜੀਵਨ ਬਤੀਤ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਦ ਕਿਸੇ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਨੂੰ ਸਜੇ ਹੋਏ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਬਦਲਿਆ ਜਾਵੇ। ਨਵੇਂ ਘਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਰੇਮਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਫਿਨਿਸ਼ਿੰਗ ਤੱਕ, ਡ੍ਰੇਪਰੀ, ਪੇਂਟਿੰਗਸ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਡੈਕੋਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਅਸੈਸਰੀਜ਼ ਤੱਕ, ਤੁਸੀਂ SK ਹੋਮ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਸ ਦੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੁਪਨਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਹਕੀਕਤ 'ਚ ਬਦਲ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰੋ ਸੰਦੀਪ ਕੌਰ 6048259295।
ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਲੀਐਨ ਕੈਂਬਲ ਨਾਲ, ਇੱਕ ਇੰਟੂਇਟਿਵ ਹੀਲਰ ਹਨ। ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਅਵੇਅਰਨੈਸ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਕੌਨਸ਼ੀਅਸਨੈਸ ਕੀ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਇਸ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਣੀ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ, ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਮਰਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਦੀ ਪਹਿਚਾਨ ਹੋਣੀ ਕਿਉਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ। ਲੈਟਸ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਲੀਐਨ ਟੂ ਦ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ। ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ।
Hi.
Hi. So let's talk a little bit about yourself. If you could just let us know what is your background and how did you get interested into this field?
I think it was something naturally that happened over a period of time in life.
Mm-hmm.
We all have questions. We all learn from the upbringing of our parents.
Right.
And the final destination is love.
Right.
And becoming love. So it's the journey of education,
Mm-hmm.
understanding the mind,
Right.
and then being blessed in different ways for whatever that means to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, very many times we hear raise your consciousness. What is basically consciousness and how you can be aware of it?
Consciousness itself is something that you learn to witness
Mm-hmm.
from within. It's not something that you can actually describe.
Right.
It's something of beyond the mind
Mm-hmm.
and a pure state of being of our
Okay.
true self.
Mm-hmm.
How to be aware of it, you asked, or
Yeah.
how to be aware of it? The best way that I've learned over the years through every journey of methods
Mm-hmm.
that are out there in being human is to watch.
Okay. To observe.
To watch, yeah, being watchful, witnessing.
Okay.
The more that we witness, we see something that's actually happening outside of us.
Okay.
That's not actually connected to the mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's more or less existence.
Okay,
itself.
I would like to have an example on this particular point which you have raised.
Okay.
To just be an observer, just to watch. Watch what? Your thoughts, your what to do.
Well, in the beginning, I guess, to allow yourself to understand the meditative states,
Okay.
you would watch your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But then the whole life becomes watching.
Mm-hmm.
So you watch yourself run, you watch yourself eat, you watch yourself sleep. And in this aspect, I guess you could say consciousness itself, you realize what it is through witnessing
Okay.
and what you are as a true self.
Right. Now, here comes the point what you're talking, who I am. And if you ask someone who you are, definitely they're going to come up with their name or their designation or whatever they're doing. So basically, who are we? And especially in the Eastern culture, from where we come in from, and the Western culture, there's a lot of difference. But right now what we are finding, there's a transformation whereby lots of people from the Western culture are coming forward and trying to understand the basic concepts of who I am. So if we can talk a little bit about this particular issue as to who we are and how to understand who we are.
I think an innocent child understands everything. Just being innocent.
Okay.
Being pure means being playful.
Mm-hmm.
Just taking each moment for what it is.
Right.
The aspects of everything that we learn here come and go. We experience all of our lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And we come to a point of realizing what a cycle is. So there's a cycle that continues between friendships, between reality, between money, between everything that's existing around us.
Right.
And finally come to that point of saying, okay, I'm not that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel something a little bit deeper. So sometimes we look for a quest, we look for something else, and then it arrives.
Mm-hmm.
But being aware and being conscious
Right.
is where it arrives.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the conscious states start to come in, where you're like, oh, that felt magical.
Right.
Wow, something else is moving around me, or something within me is moving.
Right.
So that's where consciousness starts to take birth, and then we look for other answers. We look to study about chakras, or we study about mantras,
Mm-hmm.
or we could study just even through simply being in a room and trusting
Right.
the silence
Mm-hmm.
that's available to us. And once we come there, we realize, oh, there's something else happening here.
Okay. Now, Leanne, everybody, whether he's brown or any color, wants to be spiritual. And that's what our basic seed is. But the way the spirituality has been commercialized today, so how can one be aware that he's following the true path?
He should know, first of all. Don't ask for advice.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know answers yourself,
Right.
there's nobody who can answer your questions other than you understanding this is truth. You know it. That's why there's no advice. The gurus have all taught me that too, all the masters, anything that I looked outside, it's within.
Right.
And when you feel content and happy, simple joyfulness, simplicity, you're centered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very simple thing to say, but very difficult to follow. And in this fast-paced world whereby everybody is running after something, and that rat race is taking us, we say it's the 21st century, but probably we have gone far back into the 15th century, I would say, as far as our thinking is concerned. More of stress, more of troubles, and all these things are happening. So what would be your advice to a common person that how to start this and how to sustain it?
Just keep listening. Listening, actually, I would like to commend Guru Nanak Dev Ji for that in the Gurbani, is we don't realize how close God is to us.
Right.
And whatever that word means, consciousness, God, don't label it. Just recognize it, whatever way it comes in with love.
Right.
Because they all say God is love. So just come to that point of love. If something comes through, you'll know, and keep trusting. So the
Right.
final thing is trust and love.
Now, all this thing, what is happening in the Western world, there's a lot of reformation, I would say, whereby people are coming towards this aspect now, that they have seen the best of the best life, and now they feel that ultimately they have to connect to themselves. So, is any effort being made whereby to bridge the gap between the Eastern culture and the Western culture? So, is anything happening on that particular ground?
Well, I think personally, my own personal story, because I'd like to speak on behalf of truth, and truth is your experience,
Right.
is that all the great masters have arrived from the East. They've covered the land.
Right.
They've embodied energy here. We've come to them with our abundance, our financial means, whatever it is. So there's something wonderful happening.
Right.
And the more that we become aware and we listen and we educate ourselves, there's actually so many dimensions that we can have fun with.
Right.
We can have a lot of variety. We can learn to have more compassion. And that just takes a very simple, basic thing is witnessing your breath.
Okay.
Just learn to watch your breath coming in and out of the body. It's the final solution that Buddha had gave us also. And those are the treasures, the mystical keys.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you're talking about those universal values, and every religion teaches this. So, if I may ask you that, what has been the transformation in you? What inspired you to come to this side, and what transformation are you finding in yourself since the time you have started doing all this?
I think that once you ask a question, the answer arrives. So doubt is the mind.
Right.
I've learned what the mind is when we doubt something. And the final thing is trust. You know,
Right.
that's it's a strong thing that I've learned, that it's not easy to live. Becoming love itself.
Right.
Because every moment to moment to moment, you jump over the mind. You recognize that it's just the mind.
Right.
And it's a computer that's giving you all this information. But then when you see it and you realize it has a female or male quality, you come to the understanding, okay, well then what do I feel like when I'm in meditation? I feel that it's going somewhere else.
Right.
So you get to know this body itself. You get to know the anatomy. You get to know parts of yourself just by trusting. And information arrives.
Right.
You know, we're very fast, but we don't realize how much is actually happening presently in our life, in the now.
That's right. To live in that now is the most important thing. But unfortunately, again, we are either stuck to the past, or we are more bothered about what's going to happen in the future, and that now just withers away.
Well, I think the best thing is to get away from we's and I's and ego.
Right.
Just understand that that's all going to take you away from the essential understanding of being present, being peaceful, being silent.
Right. Today what we are finding is that mystical teaching, or our gurus, our philosophers, they talked about all of this in the Eastern culture, but in the Western culture also we are finding lots of people, that reformation which is happening, and lots of speakers are coming forward whereby they're talking about these same things but in a different manner. Of course, there's a tag attached at the back of kind of trying to bring about a change in the minds of the people. But along with that, you have to pay for those things and learn that kind of spirituality. So what do you find that gap when we listen that East is East and West is West, the twain shall not meet, if you know Rudyard Kipling wrote this. So do you find that that gap between the East and the West is coming closer, and a time will come when all this talk, what we are talking today, people do appreciate it from the heart also?
Yeah, I think if you, first of all, take care of yourself, it's most important.
Right.
Everything takes care of it after that.
Right.
The rest of the communication is just going to put you in circles of trying to make solutions outside rather than witnessing.
Right.
So the final thing is to witness. If you're witnessing, you're in your center, you're in your awareness, you're with the divine.
Right.
Everything else that's going to go around you, everywhere else, it's just a gift. So the idea is that we're going to go be political or we're going to go after somebody or run somewhere.
Right.
It can change if we start to witness.
That's right.
If we start to witness one by one, we become more enlightened.
Right.
People don't worry so much.
Right.
They're not going to worry about what's inside of a tower or who has more power. They won't have to play those kind of games. They'll actually come together. They'll learn that there's something pulling them, which is love.
Oh, wonderful. That's an interesting thing what you're talking about. So towards the end, what message would you like to give, especially to the South Asians who are watching this program?
Just keep watching.
Right. Great. That's quite in-depth what you have said. Keep watching. Thank
Keep
you very
watching.
much for your time. It was a pleasure having you.
You do.
ਅੱਜ ਇਸ ਵਿਸ਼ੇ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਲਿਆਨ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਈ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਉੱਤੇ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਹੀ ਕਿ ਕੀਪ ਔਨ ਵਾਚਿੰਗ, ਆਬਜ਼ਰਵ ਕਰੋ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੰਨੀਆਂ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ 'ਚ ਫਸ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੀ ਹੋਂਦ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ। ਇਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਮਾਂ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸਮਾਂ ਕੱਢੀਏ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨਾਲ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਕੌਣ ਹਾਂ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਣ ਸਕੀਏ।
ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇੱਕੋ ਹੀ ਭਰੋਸੇਮੰਦ ਥਾਂ ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਥ ਮੋਟਰ। ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਥ ਮੋਟਰਸ ਦੀ ਲੋਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈਗੀ 15437 ਫਰੇਜ਼ਰ ਹਾਈਵੇ ਸਰੀ ਜਾਂ 31790 ਸਾਊਥ ਫਰੇਜ਼ਰ ਵੇ ਐਬਟਸਫੋਰਡ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੈਗਾ ਲਾਰਜੈਸਟ ਸਿਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਕਾਰਸ ਦੇ ਟਰੱਕਸ ਦੀਆਂ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਟਾਫ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬੈਸਟ ਕਸਟਮਰ ਸਰਵਿਸ ਦੇਵੇਗਾ। ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਦਾ ਹਰ ਜਵਾਬ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਹੈਗਾ। ਬੈਡ ਕ੍ਰੈਡਿਟ ਔਰ ਨੋ ਕ੍ਰੈਡਿਟ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਬ੍ਰਾਂਡ ਦੀ ਕਾਰਸ ਟਰੱਕਸ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰੋ 1866 879 8522 ਤੇ।